Hi, this is Laura Peters in Dublin, Ireland. Do you want to make this fun fold pop-up card with me? Let me show you how I made it.
Let's make an adorable pop-up card, shall we? As you can see here, it is 3D, but we're going to make it in a way that it still lies flat to fit in your envelope. Now, this is the first one that I did. I cut the arch slightly smaller here because we are using the Everyday Arches dies. And I used a retired honeycomb embossing folder here for the outside. So I wanted more of that to show. And because the paper I chose for the inside, which is obviously more honeycombs from the cute as can be designer series paper set, which I love, coordinates perfectly with this stamp set. Obviously honeycombs, right? So I chose the colors based on this too. This designer series paper, always listed on the back on our Stampin' Up designer series paper, are the colors that are in here. Basic black, bubble bath, Daffodil Delight, old olive, petunia pop, pool party. No guessing on how to coordinate your items. Love it. Because it said you're as sweet as honey, but there was no honey in here, I fussy cut some of these honey jars out of the designer series paper. And then of course we have to decorate the back too. So how do we do this? I'm going to assume that you already know how to stamp, so I'm not going to show you too much stamping. If you need instructions on how to stamp, you can go look at this video. So here's 1B already done. And I'm going to do the second one for you just so you do have an idea how this particular set works. We're going to use the little open-eyed smile face for this one. Okay, so I've got my Memento Black ink here, and I'm going to start with the stripes. With the Memento, because it's a linen type pad instead of a spongy type pad, I like to swirl it a little as I'm stamping. And we're going to line it up right over this yellow, which we'd already stamped, and I find focusing on the stinger helps me make sure that I get it high enough. Close enough. This is what it looks like if you just stamp it on yellow paper as opposed to the white paper. You get a little bit of a border, which you may or may not like. In this case, because I'm mounting it onto yellow paper, I wanted the white border to help him stand out a little bit. Where's our face? Here's our cutie little face. Definitely be careful not to smash these ones too hard, or you get a fuzzy face. Okay. So, coordinates with our Bee Builder Punch, I believe this is called. This one that looks like a speech bubble. Hint, hint. And just line them up there. And then the small heart is what we use for the antenna. If I can get a grip there. It's nice to leave a little extra on your paper so that you have something to hold on to while you're lining it up. And the big heart is the wings. There we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? So when we're gluing it on, we just want to put a little dab, as small as you can get away with, on the tip of these hearts. I like to put the antenna first, helps me visualize the wings more. And I just realized I did 2 upright when I meant to do 1 facing the other direction. That's okay, that just means we need an extra set of wings here. No problemo. So we are going to stamp a little bit more then. Let's get some more wings out here. And some scrap paper. Here's some paper. Get our Memento ink again. Now here's a tip. If you look at your punch, and don't look at it this way because then you're looking at it reverse, look at your punch this way and figure out which way would be the easiest way to slide in your paper, because if I stamp it on this side, I can't get the paper in that way. If I stamp it in this corner, it slides in and I'm using less paper. So we're going to stamp it so it lines up nicely with the punch. Just so we waste a little less paper because I am a paper hoarder. And you can see how small these antennae are, so that means little scraps can still be really helpful. Doesn't help me when it's time to clean up my room and I need to throw some stuff away. Okay, so we're going to do another little dab on the tip of this heart. Didn't quite center that properly, but I'm okay with it. And now, one reason I like the glue is it gives you a second to kind of smush things around. Make sure that it's lined up nicely before the glue sets. Okay. So I put the honeycomb on the inside of the other beehive. I thought I was being so cute. And I pre-cut this paper for you and pre-scored it, but I'm going to show you how I score it. So I thought, oh, honeycomb obviously on the inside of a beehive, but what's also on the inside of the beehive that we care about? The honey. So I chose to use the honey paper on the inside of this one because I thought it was funny. I also used just the honeycomb from this bee set and randomly stamped it around. And I also made the window bigger because there's a little bit more interest in the background paper on this one. So I cut this paper. I hate having to measure my A4 paper every time to figure out where to cut it. So I've actually made marks on my cut and score. This is halfway one direction, this is halfway the other direction when I'm cutting my piece of paper. Okay, so I want the longer bit, so this is nearly 15 centimeters. Okay, so I cut one piece, a A4 piece of paper just in half this way. Then I'm going to score it. Let me give you a tip for scoring. When you see most things written for where to score it, it says score at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or whatever. Those guides are really helpful if you have a score pal, which is one big grid thing. It's almost like the grid paper, but it has a score on it, right? I don't have that. I have the regular paper trimmer. So what I do that I find helpful, whoops, it's not helpful if your scoring blade pops out, is if you're trying to do it like this, my first score is going to be at 2 centimeters. But when I do it like this, there's so little paper butted up against the guide here that I find it easy to make a crooked score mark. So what I do is for the first score mark, I flip it around and I do the 2 centimeters on this side. Okay, so we're going to line that up. 2 centimeters, score it. Make sure you're using your scoring blade and not your cutting blade. Then I'm going to flip it around and do the rest. So my second score mark is at 4 centimeters. Or if you want to think about it this way, it's 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters, a quarter size piece of A4, 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters. Okay, so I've done the 2 score mark. Now I'm going to line it up to 4. Score there. The next measurement is going to be 14.6 centimeters. Line that up there. Pretend I'm doing a good job. Score it again. And then 18.6 centimeters. Or sorry. 16.6. Okay. Which is there, I believe. And then at 18.6, that's where I'm going to trim off the rest of the paper. Like I said, I pre-trimmed this one for you, so that's why you're seeing it shorter than that. Okay, we're done with that. So now we've got our paper. I used the everyday arches. I just picked a size that I thought was visually pleasing, cut out the green arch, glued it onto here, let it dry for a second, then cut out the next smaller frame. If you cut out just this frame and then try to glue it on, it is difficult. So we're going to take this, we're going to fold it in and then fold it out. We're just doing a bit of an accordion fold here, okay? So now I feel like this looks like a little bit of a froggy when he's standing down on the table. Like these are his little frog legs. All right. I was playing with this earlier and I noticed I messed up something on my scoring. So whereas this one, when you lay it flat, you just see the outside. This one, I measured something too small and some of the edges showing. So if I line it up, we've got quite a bit of edge showing. But what I'm going to do, rather than trim the back, is I'm actually just going to center this. Okay. So the easiest way to do this without smearing glue is if we flatten it back out again. If you need more details, please feel free to ask in the comment section. I'm trying to go quick because I know long videos can be annoying, and I'm assuming that you already know how to stamp and that you already know how to use the cut and emboss machine. If you don't know how to use your cut and emboss machine, you can check out this video. All right, so we have one side glued down. So if I flip this backwards, this is what it looks like because I've already decorated my back. Okay, so we've got much more sticking out here than we have here. Now we're going to put glue on the other outside fold, the last 2 centimeters. Now here's the bit. We want to fold this as if it's the finished product, okay? I always end up with a little glue on my fingers after this. Get that side nice and flat, then stick this side down. This way we ensure that we're gluing it in a way that it's still going to sit nice and flat in the envelope, okay? So the outside 2 centimeters is glued to the paper. The second 2 centimeters is what's popping up. And then the big section is the decoration in the middle. And like I said, I went ahead and decorated the back as well. Can you see the yellow border there? So I cut 5 centimeters shorter on each side and then center it. So this would be 2.5 centimeters margins if you want to think about it that way. Okay, now I'm going to see how I want my bees to show up. The other ones I did that way because I had made a mistake and I needed to cover it up. That's how a lot of my things get made. I don't want it to stick out too far past here or it won't fit in my envelope. So we're going to put the first bee just like that. Okay, so I'm going to put my finger here so I can kind of see where the glue can go. So the glue can basically go right here. You can see I tried stamping on the back side first. Didn't like it, but didn't want to waste my paper because I'm a paper hoarder. Okay. Make sure my glue is still lined up properly. If you get glue hanging over, you will end up with a card that sticks. Okay, it's all my glue. Check the inside. I don't see any glue showing because that's what I did here. I got a little sloppy when I was gluing the antennas on, and now it doesn't pop up as nicely because the two-way glue is like a temporary glue when it dries, so it's sticking a bit. All right, now our next bee. You can do this with anything. I did another card using this same fun fold technique, and you can view that here. This time should get a little bit of his antenna stuck in too there. Yeah, why not? So we're gonna get this wing, a little bit of his body. Which side of the antenna was it? This piece of his antenna. Okay, go easy on the glue again. Oh, we need more glue on the body though. That's not very efficient. Okay. How's he gonna look? Ooh, I used a lot of glue. It's squished on the outside, but yep, squished on the inside a little bit too. So I'm gonna try to wipe some of that off now, because we don't want to end up with another sticky card. If you have a gum eraser, those are brilliant for erasing glue, but I won't be able to access it here. I could have glued the bees on first, and then I could have fixed any mistakes on the background. Okay, what do you think? I think it's really cute. Stands up nicely on the table. Love it. Fun fold technique. You can use with anything. Here are those score marks again. So it's 2 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 14.6 centimeters, 16.6 centimeters, 18.6 centimeters, or 2, 2, 10.6, 2, 2, if you want to think about it that way. I hope you have fun with this. Oh, I want to show you one more card I made with the beast. This is from last year. So the paper that we used last year that came with it is out again this year. Essentially the same, but in a different color palette. So you can see instead of reds and yellows, pinks and greens are the dominant colors this year. But same bee stamp, same bee punch, just slightly different paper. There's so many cute things you can make with this bee card. If you made one, why don't you post a picture in the comments? Can you do that? I don't know if you can do that. Well, or post me a link to your Pinterest pin with the card that you made using this fun fold technique. Thanks.